Before we get into the numbers, I just want to say that I'm filming this while I'm sick. I have bronchitis. It snowed last night, and I'm not wearing any makeup. So that's just where we're at. What's up, y'all? I'm Kara Perez, founder of Bravely Go, and I'm doing a low buy year in 2025. And now that Q1 of 2025 is over and done with, I thought I would share with you how much money I spent in the first 3 months of the year. I love budgeting. I am a longtime budgeter, and I will link the spreadsheet that you'll see throughout this video in the description. Now, I originally started the low buy simply because I'm interested in consuming less, creating more, and learning how to do things rather than just always looking for ways to spend money. And what I mean by that is we live in a world that is constantly telling us we're not enough, and we are constantly bombarded by ads. One study says that the average American sees 10,000 ads a day. And when you stop and think about it, like there are ads everywhere, right? There's ads on TV and radio. There's billboards that you drive by. There's ads on your social media. There's pop-ups. There really are everywhere. And all of these ads are trying to separate us from our money, usually by telling us that there's something wrong with us. You smell bad, buy this deodorant. You have weird skin, buy this lotion. You are not cute, buy this outfit. And so when I originally started the low buy, I was really just trying to block out some of that messaging. I also am just in this phase of my life where I'm more interested in learning and creating than I am in consuming. And what I mean by that is I really want to up my skills. I really want to learn how to sew. I want to learn how to grow and garden. I want to learn how to build things. I'm just really interested right now in making. And I'm finding that a lot of the things I'm interested in making can be made out of items I can get for free or very low cost. For example, I want to build a chicken coop so that next year I can have chickens. And I'm finding that I can get a lot of the wood that I need for that coop totally free because I can pick up wooden pallets for free. People are constantly getting rid of them, and I can just drive on by in my Toyota and scoop them up. So that's where I started. And then in February, my partner was laid off. Wah, wah, wah. So we became a one-income household. And the low buy really became much more essential than it was before. Before it had been optional, and now it is essential. I do make enough money to cover all of our bills, but that means that neither one of us right now is saving or investing, and that's something that's really important to both of us. So the low buy is now coming in as a way to kind of like ease financial stress and to help us get to when T-Bone will have another full-time job. So how is this low buy going? I'm so glad you asked. Let's get to the numbers. Now, some of the numbers I'm going to share are household, some of them are individual. In case you don't know, in case you're new around here, my partner and I are not married, and we do not share any financial accounts. So we don't have a joint bank account, we don't have a joint credit card, there's no joint debit card, nothing like that. All of our money is totally separate. So over on Instagram, I share my monthly budget with people at the end of the month, and all of that is individual because even though, yes, my partner and I are in a household together, we do spend quite a bit of money very separately. We do have some costs that overlap. Like, for example, I bought the house that we live in, so he pays me rent. So like the mortgage is a joint expense to an extent. But there are other things that I just spend money on and he just spends money on. So as a viewer, I know that can be a little confusing. So as we go through these numbers, I will clarify which are household and which are individual. Let's start off with one of the biggest areas of everyone's spending, groceries. My partner and I, as a household, spend $1,402.86 on groceries. Now I'm saying we spent $1,400 on groceries, but technically that's not totally true. Already a caveat. And that's because we get other things at the grocery store, like toothpaste, toothbrushes, deodorant, medicine. Like I mentioned, I'm sick. I recently bought a lot of medicine at the grocery store. So not all of that $1,400 is food specifically, but the bulk of it is. As a household, my partner and I spent $242.43 on car-related expenses. This is our gas for the car, tolls, and the inspection. It does not include car insurance because we pay our car insurance twice a year, and we paid in December 2024. So we're not going to pay our car insurance again until May 2025. I'm actually pretty pleased with this number because I added up how much we spent on just gas last year, and it was around $1,000. And now we have a new car, or a new to us car. We now have a 2019 Toyota RAV4 hybrid, whereas before we had a 2008 Kia Spectra. Now that we have the hybrid car, I'm really, really hopeful that our overall gas spending will go down pretty significantly. I'm hoping for $200 less this year than last year. And I'm hoping that's a trend that continues. And so we will really see the financial benefits of having a hybrid. We're also just not driving quite as much as we used to because now my partner doesn't have a commute. Unemployed. So I'd rather he was employed with a commute than unemployed and saving on gas money, but here's where we are. For restaurants, my partner and I spent $424.14. This was surprising to me. I always think of myself as someone who doesn't go out to eat that often because we usually go out to eat 3 times a month jointly. But in January, I picked up a part-time job outside of my house, a W-2 part-time job, because I really was going absolutely bonkers being home all the time alone in my 690 square foot home in a new town where I don't have a strong social network yet. And so I was like, I gotta talk to people, I gotta meet people. So I got this job, part-time job in an office, and it's been wonderful. I'm really, really loving it. However, sometimes my hours will change unexpectedly and I will find myself without food. I always bring my lunch when I go to work, but sometimes I go in later or I have to run a bunch of errands or the hours get wonky and I'll find myself and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to eat like right now. So I have eaten out. I've gotten snacks much more frequently than I anticipated when I got this job. I really thought like, oh, I'm gonna be bringing my lunch from home. It's not gonna be a problem. I keep snacks in my bag. Like my food spending won't go up, but I'm definitely stopping at like Dunkin' Donuts once a month since January. And so that has also been kind of surprising to me and has increased the restaurant budget a little bit. I would like to see this number come down, especially now that T-Bone's not working, but I also know that a lot of American households spend $424 on eating out per month. So for this to be over 3 months feels pretty good, but I'd like to see it pulled down. This next one is a personal expense, so not household, and it's donations. I donated $87.95 between January and March. Where did this money go? Where did I donate to? I donated to Jewish Voices for Peace, and that was a one-time donation. And then I have a recurring quarterly donation that goes to a local food justice nonprofit. So both of those encompass this $87.95. Home projects, $4,253.01. This is another personal expense. As I mentioned earlier, I own the house that my partner and I live in. So I'm his landlord. We have a lease. We have legal documents that establish that relationship. And as a result, I am responsible for any and all repairs that happen to the house, of which there have been quite a few. And that's predominantly because of Trump's tariffs. Trump is playing fast and loose with these tariffs, and I anticipate that that kind of behavior will continue for the next 4 years while he's president. And I just said, you know what, I can't live in this constant loop of, is lumber going to get more expensive? Oh, wait, no, it's not. Oh, wait, yes, it is. Or wait, it's just getting a little bit more expensive. I couldn't live with trying to plan out the ravings of a madman, in my household budget. So part of the reason that this is so high for Q1 is because I put down a $2,000 deposit on getting my windows done. I just decided that I needed to redo the windows. They were old, they were leaking. New windows are a cost-saving measure to a degree because your house is better insulated and they do increase the value of the home. So the total cost of the windows is $7,151. I put down $2,000 as a deposit, and then I had to pay $50 extra for the permit from the town to get the windows done. And then I financed the remaining $5,151 at 0% interest for 18 months. The other $2,000, this is shocking to me, but anyone who owns a home will understand what I'm about to say, is just small things that add up. We put knobs on all of the kitchen cabinets because when we moved in, there were no knobs. So I had to buy all the knobs. I had to buy specific screws for that. I am painting my front door. I had to buy paint and primer for that. So it's just all of these smaller projects that add up. I really, really hope that for the remainder of this year, this home projects, home improvement budget line is like $200 a month. I think now that I'm not doing any more major projects like the windows, I think this will come down significantly. But honestly, this house has done nothing but suck money out of me since we moved in. I am really 50-50 on whether or not buying a house was a good idea. So stay tuned. I will do a video when we've been in the house for a year on kind of how I'm feeling of whether or not it was the right call. Stay tuned, because right now, 50-50. Next, another personal spending is personal care, $180.57. This mostly encompasses my haircut, which was $80. I did buy some skincare, some lotions and stuff for my skin. My skin is exceedingly dry, and this winter in New England was very harsh. Not to be gross, but my skin this winter was flaking off. It was super disgusting. So I really needed to invest in heavy-duty moisturizer to make it through these cold winter months. Another personal expense, only medical debt, $142.61. I have about $6,000 in medical debt. It's a little more than that. It's like $6,100 in medical debt from when I was hospitalized in 2022. I am still paying that off because I am negotiating with all of these debt providers. So I negotiated that down, saved myself $61, which I feel really good about, and I'm continuing to pay off my debt in this manner, just slow and steady. Then we have another joint household cost, which is utilities, and that's at $858.22. This is mostly the heating oil. I had to refill our heating oil in January, and that was a little over $600. And then the rest of that is like electric, water, sewage. So I'm really proud of this number actually, because we are absolute ninjas when it comes to our utilities. We do a really, really good job with our electric use. We have all of the like smart, or I don't know if it's called smart, but like the green plugins that like do low energy. We have like a low flow shower head, right? So that saves energy, and I feel really good about that. This is a personal expense, impulse shopping, $67.82. The vast majority of this is the $53 that I spent on Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. Baldur's Gate is a Dungeons and Dragon role-playing video game, which I say kind of laughing because I played it when I was in high school and then I didn't play it for 20 years, but it was always kind of in the back of my mind. And then in February, after my grandmother passed away and after T-Bone got laid off, I don't know, man, I had sort of like a break and I was like, I'm buying Baldur's Gate! And I was able to get 1 and 2 for $50 on the PlayStation. And I have been playing the hell out of those games. Let me just tell you, I am enjoying them so much. That was an impulse buy, which generally I don't feel good about, but man, oh man, I do not regret that purchase at all. I'm so happy I did that. The rest of that 67, I impulse bought the first season of Friday Night Lights on DVD at the thrift store and the second season of Gilmore Girls on DVD at the thrift store. Total, those were $9.99. And then I also bought some fabric hooks because I'm making a curtain out of an old sheet for this office, actually. And so I guess that technically wasn't an impulse buy because I knew I was gonna buy it, but it was just sort of a random buy. But that's going towards a project that I'm learning and I'm creating and I'm building out of. So that's my impulse buys. Another just personal expense is travel. I spent $48.10 on travel in Q1 2025. This was because I took the train and a bus to my grandmother's bedside as she was passing. My partner and I are a 1-car household and he needed the car to get to work. So I took public transport to go say goodbye to her, and obviously no regrets. Rounding out with a final joint expense, our biggest by far is housing. $6,900. This is the mortgage, the property taxes, and the home insurance. It is expensive, especially for the size of the house. I say this all the time, but my house is 690 square feet. It's small, and yet we pay a lot of money to live here. And I get that it's Massachusetts. It's the second most expensive state in the country. The housing market everywhere is bonkers. But honestly, again, this is why I'm 50-50 on was buying a house a good idea. I know I'm building equity, but at what cost? And I know that I own this, but it's only 690 square feet. And it's just a real back and forth for me on this. But this is a cost we share. We do not split it evenly. I pay more towards the mortgage than my partner does. Again, because I'm the owner, I don't think it's fair to charge him a 50-50 split. Though, we do have an equity agreement and he does earn equity in this house, which let me know if you're interested in hearing about how we set that up and arranged that, because I would make a video about that. So if those are all the things I spent money on, what are things that I successfully spent $0 on? I successfully spent no money on clothing, makeup, tech, home decor, health, and streaming services. No new clothes so far this year, no new makeup so far this year, no new tech, no new home decor. I feel really good about that. I generally am pretty good about not spending in those areas, but clothing, even though I'm not really a fashion girly, I looked back at my 2024 spending and I spent about $600, or it was like $560 on clothing last year. So I'm looking forward to recapturing that money this year by not spending any money on clothing. And just these other areas, things kind of creep in and you're just sort of like, oh yeah, sure, it's only $5, or like, oh, it's a sale, throw that in my cart. And I've been really good about avoiding that kind of spending. So our household total was $17,146.92, which on its face for just 3 months, initially I was like, oh my God, that's a ton of money. What the heck? For 3 months? But then I remembered the windows, right? That's a big $2,050 expense that hopefully we will not have for the rest of the year. And then I remembered that most of the $17,000 is joint expenses. $10,417 of this $17,000 is joint expenses. So if we take the $17,146 and multiply it by 4 for a full year worth of spending, we as a household would be spending $68,587.68, which again, for 2 people in the second most expensive state in the country, doesn't seem that bad. Feels really reasonable. And actually, I expect for us to come in under that number this year. My goal is for us to spend closer to $64,000 as a household this year. So that's where all my money went in Q1 2025. Stay tuned. I will do another one at the end of Q2. But definitely let me know how your low buy is going. And if you like this video, make sure to give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe so that you never miss a video. I'm always curious to hear from y'all, so let's chat in the comments.